Hey, Motorman here. As you can see, I'm at Tampa Triumph on Dale Mabry in Tampa. And I was here, well, actually 2 days to road test several motorcycles. This was the first day I was there, and I had some problems with the mic on the camera, and I also had some problems with where the camera was focused. I tried a new position on the camera, didn't work out very well, so I went back the next day and did the road test all over again, except they had sold this motorcycle, so I didn't get a chance to ride it the second day and do a proper video. So you're going to have to, when you see the road test version of this video, you'll understand the camera is pointed down. I'm aware of that. And remember, if it bothers you, I always have my money back guarantee for any of my YouTube videos. But what you're looking at here is the Triumph Speed Twin. This motorcycle weighs about 430 pounds and it has 96 horsepower. That is extreme power to weight ratio. This is reminiscent of the motorcycles that Triumph made in the 60s and when they were the top of the heap as far as performance, and it is a standard motorcycle. The difference between this motorcycle and say a naked motorcycle is that the naked bikes are really just sport bikes without the plastic. Kind of uncomfortable position, at least for me and a lot of people, with your feet up behind you and leaning forward, etc. This bike has a great riding position. You're sitting almost straight up, a slight lean towards the handlebars, and as you can see, it comes with blacked out motor, and the exhaust on this particular bike is a Vance and Hines system, and you're going to hear this thing. I mean, it sounds beautiful for this motorcycle, but even the stock exhaust on this bike sounds great. Triumph's made big improvements. They used to sound like sewing machines, but no longer. So we're going to take this motorcycle out for a ride. I'm going to tell you what I think of it, and I'm pretty sure it's going to peg the fun meter. So pay attention. I'm going to put some things up on the screen as we go along, tell you about the different facts about the motorcycle and the ride modes, etc. So enjoy.
So they tell me this motorcycle only weighs 430 pounds. And it's rocking over 95 horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower for a lightweight motorcycle. And I checked, this is a aftermarket Vance and Hines exhaust. So it does not come standard, but it sure sounds good. Riding position on this bike is I'm leaning forward a bit, got some weight on my hands, and the pegs are mid controls, but they're back a bit, similar to a, not quite near as severe as a sport bike, but much more sporting riding position than the Scrambler or the Bobber. Oh, this bike flies. It's almost scary fast. Got traction control, and I've got it into the on position so as not to get the front wheel off the ground. This is a 6-speed transmission. I'm going to check that out in just a minute, but I'm almost positive. Again, shifting is very smooth, easy pull clutch. Not quite as easy as their Scrambler model. Alright, we got first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Yes, it is a 6-speed, 50 miles an hour. It's still got plenty of pickup even in 6th gear. This has a separate tack, as you can see here, mounted. I like that better than having the speedometer and digital tack all in one. And a red line is at 7,000 RPMs. Mirrors give you a real good view behind you. Something you don't get on sport bikes, but you do get on standards type motorcycles. And it's a firm ride, but you know, that's the way it should be on this type of bike. Just the slightest push on the bars gets the front end to react. I only wish there was a winding road to take this on around here, but there just isn't. Further south you go in Florida, the straighter the roads get. Up in the area I live in is Central Florida. Pasco, Hernando is some of the best riding in Florida. You can actually find winding roads, but yeah, not in Tampa so much. Bit more vibration coming through the grips on this motorcycle, and that's to be expected when it's tuned strictly for performance. Plenty of torque as well. Easy to find neutral on this smooth shifting transmission. The way these instruments are set up, you do get some glare from the sun. They are kind of flat. I would think they should be positioned a little bit straighter up. There are sport bikes that are as fast or faster than this, but the riding position, at least for me on a sport bike, yeah, after an hour you want to get the hell off of that thing. I can see this bike on a 500-600 mile a day ride, no problem. I'm just pulling in here to get away from that traffic. Maybe find a place to do a couple of maneuvers on it, see how it handles. On this kind of motorcycle, you don't have to worry about, you know, like a cruiser scraping the pegs or running out at lean angle, that's for sure. Quite nimble motorcycle, easy to turn. You know, as long as you know the proper techniques. If not, you could be in trouble, as you could on any motorcycle. Man, that wasn't even half throttle. This is a fast, fun motorcycle and pretty comfortable. The slightly leaning forward riding position suits this type of bike because you can get down a bit and it will straighten your arms up when you accelerate. Triumph was originally known as a performance motorcycle way back in the day. Boy, they've taken it to a whole new level here. It feels, this bike is just over 400 pounds, and it feels extremely light. Acceleration is intoxicating. You can get in trouble on this motorcycle. Hold on to your license. You get one of these. To me, the sporting standard like this, or a completely naked bike, whatever you want to call it, is about the most fun rides you can have, with all the power, great handling, and a comfortable riding position. It's not meant for the track. That's where you need to be, you know, leaning over with your chin on the tank of the motorcycle and your feet 3 feet up behind you. Check the brakes out. Oh, very good. Lots of power in that front brake. You should know that the front brake is probably about 90% of your stopping force on modern motorcycles. If you hear people say, yeah, I just use the rear brake. Rear brake's going to help you. Low speed handling to stabilize the bike, but doesn't offer very much stopping power at all. It's in that front brake. You got to get used to using that. In fact, use both brakes all the time, every time you ride, and you'll be, when an emergency situation arises, you'll rely on what you normally do, which should be using both brakes all the time, except when turning at low speeds. You don't want to hit that front brake at low speeds. If the handlebars are turned, you hit that front brake, you're going down hard and fast. But for your normal riding, use both those brakes every time you come to a stop. And of course, you can use the motor to slow down, get off the throttle, downshift. But remember, if somebody's behind you and you're doing that, your brake lights aren't coming on. So always give it a little break when you're doing that, so people know, hopefully, know what you're doing and what you're about to do. Motorman's fun factor, 1 to 10. I'm going to give this bike a 9. If it was a little bit more upright riding position, I'd probably give it a 10. But like I said, there's a reason why you're leaning over to the bars. When you open up that throttle, it's going to yank you back. Again, you can get just about anything you want for this motorcycle, from Triumph windshields. I would definitely put a windshield, and I know some people are going to say, ah, that's tough. But even with a full face helmet, you know, anything up to 60 miles an hour, you're all right. But above that, on a long trip, you want that wind to be blocking some of that blast in your face and your chest, especially if it's cold outside. Here in Florida, right now, it's probably about 82 degrees. I'm not worried about the cold, but in the wintertime it'll get down into the 30s in the morning and 50s in the afternoon, and yeah, you need some wind protection. Oh, that is a sweet sounding bike. Man, when this gets above $5,000, hold on tight. So if you like these road tests that I've been doing, I hope you would subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and make sure you hit that little bell so you'll be notified each time I come out with a new video. I'm doing at least minimum of 3 a week. Right now our class is at a standstill because the school is closed, but from what I understand, May 1st we'll be opening back up, so you'll look for some of those videos I do about the school and my students, and you see what they do right and what they do wrong and how to correct the mistakes. Until next time.